Hello, everyone. Hello, Marcin.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, good. Looking
Great.
forward to the presentation.
Great. So, not gonna wait too much. Marcin will talk about how to become a tech lead. Right, you had a journey from the individual contributor to the team lead, right?
Exactly.
Great. So, I'm really excited for me too because that's my journey. I'm on this journey right now. So, let's start. I will add your slides and I will move myself. And good luck.
Perfect. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome on my talk. So today I wanted to talk to you about how I a tech leader always wanted to have. At the first slide, you can see all my handles: Twitter handle, GitHub handle, and LinkedIn handle. If you want to reach out to me after that presentation. Okay, so the working subtitle of this talk should be what is our job even as a tech leaders? What do we do? What should we focus on? Is like purely tech, just tech, managing people, tech people, what it actually should look like. Whenever you go, tech lead role is defined differently in different places. It will look differently for a company who's like more like a corporate has more like a corporate environment where they have like structured team processes and all that, and it will obviously look differently when you go to the startup where has like 10 or 15 people. You have to be aware of that this varies on the company size, on the technologies that you might be using, that the project stays and so on. So it varies depending on the context, obviously. So for those of you who know who watch YouTube, if you look for a tech lead, this guy might pop out, but we will not focus on this kind of stuff today. So the perfect tech lead, let's define such a person. So this person has amazing technical skills. So not only knows the technology, knows the framework, but also is like hands-on, great coder. All knows all these the design patterns, architecture, and everything that's around that. Uh, this person also knows the product, so it's like a can serve like a domain expert, knows how to guide the product, in which direction it should go, can answer all your questions that you might have about how should we develop this feature, or how can we integrate with that thing. It's obviously led by people and higher management, so they can manage people, they can manage higher management and their expectations that they can have. They deliver on time, so the credibility is really high because everybody can count on them, and they know that whatever they will deliver is like with a high quality, and also with the appropriate functionalities. Create astonishing products that are being loved by users. So users love this person. They might not be aware of their existence, but they know that the company is doing well, thanks to that person, thanks to somebody who's doing really well for you know for the users, and has cross domain knowledge. So they not only are focused on like backend development or front end development, they know everything about architecture, about DevOps, you know um, um, all things that are like cross on the crosses of the domains that they operate with. So all of a sudden, we created a person who has skills of the staff engineer, Scrum Master, Product Owner, Project Manager, Business Analyst, and Manager, all in one, on as a one person. And that's how we created a unicorn. So as you probably are aware of, unicorns are really hard to find. The thing is that this people either do not exist, like these unicorns, or they're like hardly find. They're not findable at all. The other thing is that they either charge a ridiculous amount of money, but they can also easily burn out once working in such an environment where they have to do so many things. Okay, who am I? My name is Marcin, as you probably know this already. I'm a Scala developer, so Scala is the main technology that I'm using. I'm a technical lead at a startup called Fintium, and I love startups. So that's about me. But let's move about the slide about you. So I assume that people who join this talk have either recently become tech leaders, aren't a tech leader yet, but they want to discover if tech leadership is actually for them, or are already a tech leaders, but they are looking for ways to improve. They are looking for some either advice or see how other people are doing in this role. Okay, so there is like a lot of ambiguity around tech leading. There is no like a clear definition that everybody can use, and that's totally fine. But because it's different whenever you go. But yeah, let's fix that. And on the purpose for this talk, let's have a common understanding of what tech leadership is. So one of my favorite definitions is that tech lead is the owner of the technological vision for the project, and also is the technical leader of that project. So it not only involves this technical part, but also this like managerial path. You're the people who's like envisioning the coming features, coming technology, paying out the technology, that things like that. Okay. As I mentioned, it looks differently whenever you go. Also, it's the other thing with tech leadership is that it's not always not everything is written in the job spec. So whenever you go, you might expect other things that you will have to do other things like fighting like the fighting with the creep scope, or putting building the team that actually that wasn't your expectation from the company that hired you. You will be responsible for doing things that were not put in the job description. But at the end of the day, the most important thing uh, is about making a good software, reliable software, with a bunch of people. So it doesn't really matter what kind of technologies you use, what kind of frameworks you use. All that matters is to make a good software with a team of people. Okay, so three steps to mastery, according to me. Three things that you will have to mm, think about is to facilitate, which is like help your team do their jobs, advocate for people who are not in the room, and motivate, so guide your team to the best possible outcome. Okay, um, let's focus on the facilitation thing. So to move things forward, you will most probably have to facilitate, and I'm not only mentioning this as a person who's been doing this, um, but the thing is, as a tech leader, you will have to um, help other people write code, help other people debug stuff, and accept that what you will be doing is hardly noticeable. You will not have like a code that you delivered. You will have no progress to be seen. You will have no tickets to be completed by you. But you have to be there. You have to be around people to support them, to show them how they can improve, and how to actually do some stuff. Then you should always ask yourself, what's next? What's coming? So first of all, is to remove roadblocks. These are like the fire that is happening currently, that's something that needs to be done immediately. But if you don't want to fight with the fire all the time, you have to also perceive the need. So the thing with the perceive the need is that if you have like a client FTP to be delivered on till Friday, maybe it's worth asking on Tuesday about that. What's the state of that? Not to always be on fire and fighting with the urgent needs, but also like to see what's coming next, and how can you act. So tactic number one, tickets, hours, burnouts. I'm a data guy, and I like this kind of data. I like to have data, so we can have our meritocracy in the company, so we can think about all this. We can have actually all these arguments based on the data that is backing up us. So data not only help us have arguments and take things less personally, but it also helps us like realize that if we have tickets until and with estimates till end of August, maybe it's like a high time to realize that we will not deliver something in May or in June. On top of that, the other thing that you have to bear in mind is that your job now as a tech leader is to be interrupted. So when it is appropriate to help other people, you have to do this. But in some cases, you will also have to challenge them, to give them some idea, to give them some tip, but don't give them the full answer. Um, Also, like you have to bear in mind that startup time and context switch are the real things. So keep that in mind as well, and always look at the organization context. So look at the big picture, because you will be one of the only team members that has that big picture in mind and can actually act accordingly to that. So the other thing is that you have to know the answers for the questions that other people might have. But if you don't have them, you need to know where to find them. The thing is that the more you are in the company, the more people will know you, and the more people will know that you're a great engineer, great leader. The customer support will ask you about things. Engineers will ask you about things. The UI and UX designers, they will ask you about other things, features, state of documentation, everything that you can even think of. And it's gonna like take worse and worse the longer you stay in the company, obviously, because more people will realize that you're a smart guy. But teach people how to fish. Ask when they need that, and bearing in mind the priorities, you can either give them the fish immediately, or help them catch the fish. Always be happy that you don't know something. It's not the end of the world that you don't know something, but if you are willing to get to know, to show them the right people, or show them the right places where somebody can find knowledge, that's pretty good, and that's pretty helpful for them as well. The other thing that you will have to do is to advocate. Always be advocating for people who are not in the room. Reason being, every engineer wants to have the best polished code with lots of tests that contains all this like nitty gritty implementation with great frameworks. Do all that things according to best practices and all that. But sometimes you have to like take technical debt and do things a little bit more quicker, a little bit less appropriate, to in order to be able to deliver something quicker. Um, if the management actually is pushing you to do things quicker, not according to best practices, then you have to advocate for the engineers who are not in the room. If management and the engineers, they don't want to deliver some kind of a feature, then you have to advocate for users who are not in the room, that maybe actually this feature can help them and can make the product better. On to the next one. You also have to like learn how to advocate for when talking to different people, because the advocating when you are talking to developers will be different than you when you are talking to management or clients. And don't be scared of saying no. You actually have to say no, in the sake of sanity, and in the sake of having a sane product in place. So I really like this saying that you need to have like a 10,000 foot view in your head, so you can make good decisions about what to do in the ground. Um, and again, it actually relies to this big picture, in mind big picture, and making some decisions based on that. So know why something is not a good idea, give somebody and context, and don't be afraid of changing of shifting the direction into um, the different state of the things. Okay. Tactic number two: write everything down. When you are meeting with stakeholders, when you are making some decisions on the meetings, write everything down, and also write why you are making this decision in such a way. So add a bit of context on top of that. Then you will avoid the syndrome of non-productive meetings. You will be able to have actionable items with some owners, and also you will understand, like after 2 weeks, when you will get back to certain decisions, or you will try to understand them, why you decided doing something in that way, not on with the other way. Then you will know on what you agreed, and why you did it in a certain way. um Also, to get things done, you have to motivate people. So I know that this is like kind of managerial thing. And to be honest, some of us are managers, and we have to fully embrace this and be aware of this thing. um but please, help other people to grow, praise them, give kudos, maybe push them to to help them grow to their next role. So maybe ask this engineer to give a demo instead of in front of the client. Maybe ask this guy to lead this little feature, so he can be more senior in the future. Let people feel they are part of something bigger, and they are not just coding or doing thing or being part of the team for the sake of being part of the team. um so yeah, as I told you already, I don't want to scare you, but tech leading tech leading is a form of management. So even though we are you should, in theory, you're purely focusing on the technical stuff, it's not actually that easy. um it's more like empowering people through technology, and with technology being in the first place. But there will be some managerial things that you have to be aware of. um First key to motivate is actually you. So everything starts with you. You decide how the ships are going to sail. So the team will never be more confident, more positive than you are. You are the threshold for the team for a certain trait. You are the wall, actually. Um, so don't try to put this in a way where it's like us versus them, you know, team versus managers versus stakeholders versus users. Um, don't complain too much. Be like, where other find problems, you have to find solutions. I know that, like, complaining can actually feel kind of good, because it's quite easy to be like, hey, we still have this old technology, we still have this creepy feature that somebody wanted to put us in the code base, or we still don't have this much time of the refactoring our code. And it's not very productive to do this. um, I know it kind of feels like, but in practice, it's not. So think about how we can change that to be more, to deliver more, deliver better, and to motivate your team. Tactic number three, I call this like passive aggressive whiteboarding. So I'm thinking about how can I motivate my people. It's not about additional benefits, but it's like more like people who are motivate being motivated from the inside. So the other thing that I like to do to mitigate and the risks that I can spot in the project is this onboarding, which actually um, helps me to sit with the senior engineer or staff engineer or principal and go over this this complex feature that I think might be get more complicated. So we always think how can we how it's gonna I'm sitting and listening, and the guy is like the person is like explaining this to me, how it's gonna like be coded, how we gonna test that, how we gonna prepare environment for this, how we gonna deploy this. And whenever I have like what about this question, they are always like, got you. They always answer my question, but in some cases, in just like 10% of the cases, there's always like, oh, that's actually kind of a good idea. So this helps us like mitigate risk, and also share some knowledge about certain feature and how they're gonna be developed. And so once you like chase down the attackers, you are not scared anymore because you know how it's gonna be done. You have all the answers in your hand, so your confidence is higher than before that. Um, there is also this like tech lead paradox. So you're not writing code, or you're not writing much code, but you're taking the responsibility for that. Both when it comes to juniors, seniors, features, you are the person who's responsible for that, and you have to embrace that. Um, in many cases, it's like the last 10% of the job that you're doing, um, which is like very very important, and like even more important than like a 50% of the job, because sometimes the feature the coding part the coding part is quite easy, but then when it comes to deployment, preparing environment, things like that that are around coding can be a tricky part. The other thing, when you're a tech leader, and you have to remember that, is that to be honest with you, it's gonna be really hard to code. Obviously, like tech leadership, it's not like a purely engineering manager role, and it will, I guess, it will never will be. In some companies, in some contexts, it can be, but from what we have defined, it will never be like engineering manager role. At the same time, it can be kind of hard to code when you're a tech leader, because you're like empowering people through technology, but not through coding necessarily. um there's like this makers versus managers schedule article that is in the web for like 10 or more 10 plus years already. So the coders work on the maker schedule, um but team leaders actually are on the manager schedule. So bear in mind, when you are thinking about making this this switch to this new role, that you may say goodbye to some of the coding skills that you have acquired, and it might be not that easy to to sharp your knife during this during working hours with the team. um okay, that's all I had for you today. Let me know if there are any questions, or if I can help you with anything.
Thank you, Marcin. It was great. We already have a few questions. Okay, during the talk, we just got started to receive questions. So I will start with the first one. I will put it right here. As a remote work is becoming more relevant, how can leaders ensure that they are fostering a sense of team culture and unity?
Yeah, sure. So that's kind of great questions. I think, like, when it comes to team building, you first of all you have to like be on the same page. So every team member has to know like why we are doing this thing, why we are developing this in a certain way. They should be aware of about all the things around the product. They should also be informed about things like, how can we make it better, what's coming next in the upcoming sprints or months. um and also, like, I would say this, that having like things like retrospective where they can feel like, they have some impact on the team and on the work that they are delivering, would be kind of good to have, for them to, to have this, like, team building, even like as a team building exercise. On the other hand, I would, also suggest you to have things like, brown bag sessions where you gather on the lunch during the lunch, and for like 15 minutes you talk about some framework that somebody's been working on during the weekend. Or, maybe, once in a while, sit together, play some boarding games. Or, like, there are like plenty of these type of activities on the web that you can actually, play. And they're like, super super fun when you play them with colleagues. So yeah, I would, from one point of view, I would focus on this, like, um product, slash tech building team culture, and also, like, more like a soft skill type of culture as well.
Right, thank you. The another one. I have become a tech lead recently. How would you suggest to balance my development team? 50% juniors, programmers, 20%
Okay,
seniors, like.
sure. Sure. Yeah, it's another great question, but it's really hard because it depends on the context. Depends on, like, what's your organization at.
Mhm.
Are you like looking for like deliver a product in like next 2-3 weeks, or like for maybe 3-4 sprints? So that then I would, hire like a more like a senior guys. The other question is, like, how juniors, how quick they can progress, because, hiring juniors and like, our early stage devs might actually slow down your seniors, because they have to like babysit them, so they will have to like help them, getting up to the speed. And so it actually depends on the context, and I think there's like a no one perfect answer to that. Depends on the people, on the current state of the team, on the product, on what's coming next for you. And yeah, I would say that it really depends actually. Sorry, couldn't like be like more specific. I wish I could, answer like hire 10 seniors, 20 juniors, and then keep it going. But yeah,
Yeah, I
that's the current
absolutely
answer.
agree. It's very depends on the company. Sometimes it even depends on the company's budgets. Okay,
Yes,
sometimes
yes.
you have to decide that you really need seniors, but you hire juniors, or another way you have a lot of money, and then you can afford for yourself junior
Yeah,
to train and to grow inside of the team. Yeah.
yeah. And also,
Uh,
one more thing, like, would be good to have, like, some kind of like a onboarding process for juniors, especially like remote work. And it takes some time. If you hire more juniors, you will have to like pay get some, technical debt. And so yeah, it's like a topic for another presentation, I guess.
yeah. Okay, here's another one. As a tech lead, what is your advice for delegating and coordinating tasks within the team?
hmm Um, Again, depends on the team. So in my team, we have like, pretty versatile team of either we try to be like structured as a DevOps team. Obviously, people have some, a preference when it comes to like ops, backend or front end things. So we have like a big backlog that we this depending on the priorities we have for the upcoming sprint, we take few things to the backlog. And then we try to split this, like, to have one third of a task that will be more like a front end task, one third will be more back end task, and one third will be like more like a ops tasks. But again, this depends on the priorities as well. And then I'm trying to share some or like the pair programming, or like share knowledge when it comes to picking up the task. And so when there's somebody who who's like who has been involved more like a front end things, and then they want to do back end, then we like try to pair with people and see, can we get going this thing. And can we pair on that, and can we share some knowledge. So yeah. have more experts in the team.
Okay. And here's another one, very general one. Do you think anyone can be a leader, or do you need, to have the special qualities to become a tech lead?
I wouldn't say that they're like, there are some like special qualities. Obviously, you have to like have some skills to do this. But I wouldn't say it's like, based on the qualities, because up to some point you can learn all of that. But I wouldn't say that everybody can be a leader, because for some people will be struggling in that role. Some people prefer coding, they prefer solving tasks, they prefer delivering features, they want their work to be like visible. Yeah, I think like from one point of view, everybody can be a leader, but not everybody should be a leader.
I see. And just got here another one, very interesting one. Do you have any advice for sharing knowledge between senior and junior developers?
Sure. First of all, I would recommend this like brown bag sessions, where some senior or like more experienced people are either sharing about things that they have recently learned, or they are sharing some introduction to the framework that we are using, or they do like introduction to the feature that somebody been developing in the team. Or I would say that pair programming is like a great knowledge sharing tool for us, where we share like a bit of like domain knowledge as well as like some coding skills. And yeah, it's also like a team building for us. So it plays like a few pair programming plays like a few roles for us at Fintium currently.
I see. Okay. There's but I think it's going to be the last question for today. Hold on. Sorry. Let me just say. Here it is. Can you provide some general tips or strategies for managing conflicts within the team, especially when it's the remote settings is not something that you can put people all together for the coffee?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So I think that's one of the first thing I would do personally, would be to try to realize, to understand why the conflict has actually happened. Was like because of the feature that was not delivered. Was the context. And then on the context, I would be like, it's not like engineer one versus engineer two, and they're like trying to fight each other. I would say, hey, let's gather together, and let's like three of us tackle the problem that we are having, because I guess there will be like some underlying problem. Rarely, I haven't like even seen things that somebody's like not getting along, or like somebody's don't like the other person, and then you have like a professional conflicts, because we are like all professionals. They are always like conflicts on top of like some technology issue that we have in the team. So yeah, I would try to shift the perspective from person number one versus person number two, to like three of us, including me, against the problem that is surely out there, that needs to be tackled. But obviously, other things like honesty, transparency, talking to each other. That's how I would start with a conflict in a remote environment.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, there's no more any questions. There's a lot of questions, by the way. Thanks a lot, and have a wonderful day. And we'll see you next speaker in about a few minutes.
Thanks for having me, Daniel. All the best. And yeah, if somebody has any questions, I'm available on LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere. Thanks a lot, and have a great conference. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is all we got. Remember the revolution in our minds. This is all we got. Lock me out of this life institution. I am angry and I am illusions. Yes, I hate, but it's not a solution. Try my best, but I'm just a human. Oh, we don't need to say we're sorry. We don't need to worship ever stars. We don't need to say we're sorry.